Okay, welcome back. I'm going to do something a little bit different with this video. So all of these, along with a lot of our conference presentations, other clips, maybe some cross-posting to where we've been the guest of podcasts or presentations with different organizations, can all be found on Agronomy Docs, the YouTube channel for our program. We're back here on the irrigated Fairfield farm with our ultra early barley project. If you see me flailing my arms, it's because with all this wet weather, it's been great reproductive environments for mosquitoes. So just like you getting eaten alive at your place, that's what's happening to us today. So anyway, will barley be amenable to an ultra early seeding system? That's the question we've been asked to explore with this project, funded by Sask Barley and Manitoba Crop Alliance. Here we have Lariat feed barley, planted for a feed barley, it's a bit light, right? So this is the one that's planted at, 300 seeds per square meter or 30 seeds per square foot. But keep in mind, this is a dormant planted barley, and you would have seen, or there'll be a video on the YouTube channel of our dryland site where the dormant planting is pretty horrible. This is not bad actually, but as you saw with, or may have seen in the other video with our winter barley, the dormants look pretty good. Again, moisture dependent results, water being the most highly limiting factor aside from nitrogen. So we're way more successful on irrigation with some of these more riskier practices like planting a spring barley in the fall once the soil temperatures had cooled to below 2 degrees in the top 2 inches. So in our case, when did you plant this on Fairfield? Was it the same day, Warren? So what was that, November 20th? So November 20th, spring barley, lighter plant population though, particularly for a feed barley, because you want to be pushing seed rates, particularly if you're silaging it. Now, what happens if we stay with our feed barley, but we up the plant population with the seeding rate to 450 seeds per square meter or 45 seeds per square foot? So Lariat, now planted ultra early. So particularly, although it was looking pretty good on dryland as well, like it's obviously this year very amenable to an ultra early seeding system. So we've planted, in this case, basically anything over 0 degrees in the top 2 inches we went and planted. And so what day was this planted?
February 3rd.
Oh, it was February 3rd too. You guys did a lot of planting on February 3rd. So this is a good looking plot. Like, look at this thing. It's June 26th. Look at where it is in terms of plant development. There's like next to no weeds in here because we've had this awesome competitive ability established by having very good shading. Beautiful looking plot. So that's again Lariat at a high ultra early. And then we waited for the soils to warm up in late winter, early spring. So this is, what the hell is this? Is 5 degrees, right? Looks great. But now, great stand, but now we're a little bit later, right? So this is going to be flowering in July under some pretty intense heat and drought stress, supposedly. Like, we like to think that with our wheat and our barley and other cereals on irrigation that it doesn't matter with the heat and drought stress. But what can happen, even if you're staying up with your watering, you get what we call wind desiccation. So very hot weather, windy, and that actually has a desiccating effect and can really lead to less than ideal seed set. So that's kind of why the breeders actually for dryland like us to plant their stuff out here on irrigation, because it really is one indicator of resilience for drought, ironically, by being on an irrigated farm, because of that environment of wind desiccation. So this was 7.5. And then when was this planted again, Warren? 10 degrees, or Hunter? Okay, you're going back to weeding, Hunter.
It's not written on this tablet.
Well, what
It's
was
the
it on
same.
dryland, roughly? Was it April? Towards the end of April, right? 10 degrees?
I believe so.
Something like that. So, you know, there's been plenty of barley seeded.
April
mid to late
29th.
Yeah, 29th. Not bad, but I mean, it's going to be late. And that's the one nice thing about ultra early seeding is that, you know, you complete development early. The flowering's completed ahead of July, but then you got you get these compounding benefits of, well, now I'm harvesting earlier, out of the field earlier, spreading the workload, you know, escaping some of the disease and insect pests that come on a little bit later. So those are the things that you can build up into like a very resilient system by one fairly simple shift in practice. So what was this one again?
Dormant.
Oh yeah. So this one's the dormant one?
Yep.
Okay, so this is Synergy, right?
This is Lariat.
Oh, sorry, Lariat at the higher seeding rate. So now we jacked the seeding rate up, planted it in fall, and not just fall, but close to, what was it again, 20th? Right? Well, yeah, so we're still in fall, but a high seeding rate, and you can see what happens if you want to like overcome or you think you're going to be experiencing less than ideal conditions. You bump up your seeding rate. In the case of this year, planting on November 20th with a spring feed barley on irrigation, don't forget, because there's that water factor. But look at the stand. It's I honestly never thought I would see that. So that's quite amazing to me. And then now we switch over to
Synergy.
So Synergy are malt barley, and this one is what again?
Ultra early.
So this is ultra early, headed out nicely, pretty decent stand. We've got a bit of well, you can see it in here. One thing that we're as guilty as anybody of, including me, because I ran field operations for a while, is we overused our group 1s, and now we got group 1 resistant wild oats. So we've been dealing with that, and we switched to how we manage that, and that's starting to work out okay. Ultra early, so that's the first one out of the gate, looking pretty good. Lower seeding rate though, we're back to the 300. And then this is 5 degrees. And again, back to the later stuff. We got some stuff, ignore the stuff up front. We've got some variation we're gonna have to trim out, so just focus on the back end of the plot for these ones. What was I doing? I was mumbling here. So 5, was that 5? No,
That's
7.5.
10.
10 degrees. So again, 10 degrees being mid to late April. And then dormant with Synergy at a light population. I'll be curious to see what it looks like down there, but definitely not great. So to me, I think we're seeing more pronounced genetic differences perhaps with this practice, especially the ones where there's more risk involved. To me, Synergy isn't doing, was it doing the same thing on a dryland? I can't remember, but Lariat seems to be a little bit more resilient, but maybe not. Because, you know, you introduce another agronomic practice of a higher seeding rate, and even Synergy is responding to it. You don't like to go high seeding rates with a malt barley because obviously you could end up with thinner kernels, maybe not on irrigation though. So this could be successful under irrigation to maintain malt quality at a higher seeding rate. But ultra early looks, to me, it looks better with the higher seeding rate. Same with 5 degree. Very lush canopy with our 7.5. And again, ignore the front, the back end with 10. Nice lush canopy as well, but it's going to be really late. And of course, kind of the same thing that we saw with Lariat. You can offset your risk a little bit by bumping up your seeding rate, but certainly Lariat seems to be better adapted to dormant seeding than Synergy. And then we're back to the winter barleys, which we already covered. So we'll keep you updated on how this goes once the July temperatures hit.